Hello, can you hear me? I'm not talking to you, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, friends, if you're joining us in Zoom, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The sound is good?
Yes, sir.
good.
Is it clear or I need a better mic? What do you think?
It's clear enough that I can hear you. I
It
can't
sounds
say.
pretty clear.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, let me know if sound becomes a problem. Maybe I'll start bringing my upscale mic to class as well. Okay, friends, welcome to class. You know, I realized today I don't like those first couple of classes. I don't like the first week of classes, and I was thinking why. And today I realized it's because of technology. It's not that I don't want to come back to work. I actually like coming back, you know, and starting a new semester. It's always like technology is malfunctioning on the first day of the class, right? It's just the way it works nowadays. And you know, yesterday as I was getting ready for this class, I got a message that the hard drive failed on this computer. I was like, oh, great, because I'm always using this computer as a backup if something doesn't work, because sometimes HDMI cable doesn't work. I mean, I'm not sure why. But you know, today we've been lucky. Everything is working so far, okay? You know, I've been using Zoom for I would say at least a few years, right? But for me, broadcasting things live is a bit of a new experience because I always prefer the pre-recorded format, okay? So maybe some of the things that I'm doing will look strange, but I guess all instructors are doing those strange things nowadays. One of the things that I'll be doing, I'll be sitting mostly here, okay? It actually fits well with the format of this class because a lot of the things that we do in this class will be software demonstrations. So I'll be sitting here in front of my computer anyway, right? But usually when I lecture, I like to talk to people, but because we also have our colleagues joining us in Zoom, I'll have to sit here so that they can see me from time to time, okay? I know that maybe together with the mask, it creates like some kind of barrier. So let me know if something needs to be improved in terms of the delivery or sound quality or any ideas that you have will be greatly appreciated. How to improve the delivery of this course so that it works better for you, okay? Now, it's 2 p.m., so maybe it's your first class today, this semester. So if it's your first class, then on behalf of Murray State University, I would like to welcome you to Spring 2021. I know that people are nowadays struggling with all kinds of things and they're not enjoying life as much as they used to before the COVID situation. But I hope you had a chance to relax a little bit over the winter break. Did you relax? Did you do something fun? What did you do? Yeah.
Mostly just stay at home, play video games, get to read.
So this is your definition of fun, just playing, okay. I guess my definition of fun is traveling, and this is something I haven't done in more than a year. I know I had great plans actually for this winter, but I didn't go anywhere, obviously. I know that some people actually the opposite, they're traveling now. You know, I've been checking recently ticket prices. You can go from Nashville to New York City for like $100 round trip. And for $200 or $300, you can go to Cancun, you know, and things like that. So, but I guess there's a risk involved, right? So, yeah, playing video games is not a bad thing, you know, if it helps you relax. What I've done a lot over this winter break, I've done woodworking. This is one of my main hobbies nowadays. I have a wood workshop, and at first I started making things for myself, like, you know, outdoor furniture, like benches, flower beds, you know, things like that. But now I have a small shop on Etsy because it's not like a business, more like a hobby. You know, I'm building so many things. My wife cannot use like 20 cutting boards and things like that. So I'm trying to sell some of the things that I'm making to compensate myself for sourcing wood and buying new tools. And it's working. People are buying it. And, you know, to me, it's like a recognition, right? If somebody's willing to pay money for what I do, it means that, you know, I'm doing a good job. I'm doing something valuable. So that's what I've been doing over the winter break, woodworking, creating furniture, kitchen items and things like that. Also, when I do things, I just practice, you know, I practice using different tools because, you know, I don't want to buy like expensive tool and wood and then, you know, throw everything away after I practice. I want to sell it so that I can get some money back from that activity, right? Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it, although it's tough sometimes to do work when you're surrounded by your family, you know, especially kids and things like that. So anyways, I'm glad that life continues, right? That for better or for worse, it continues. So welcome back. I'm glad you're all back to your studies, to this semester. I hope you have to the extent that is possible, I hope you have a productive, fun, interesting semester. Okay, so welcome back. Today's agenda has two main parts. The first part is not very important. I will just talk briefly about myself, okay? I also want you guys to introduce yourself to peers, and I wasn't sure what's the best way to do it. At first, I thought I'm gonna do it in class, and somehow we'll accommodate our colleagues joining us in Zoom. But now I see that my sound from this laptop is not connected to the speaker, so I cannot broadcast our Zoom colleagues which are right here, by the way. So I cannot broadcast our Zoom colleagues, when it comes to the sound. It's only the sound that is coming from that speaker that you can hear. Okay, and maybe we don't have time for that. So I will ask you to introduce yourself in Canvas. I'll talk more about it. Right. So that's the first part, the unimportant one. The most important part of today's class is talking about the syllabus. So we'll discuss the syllabus in detail. We'll talk about the format of the class, the content, deliverables, assignments, grading, rules, policies, and things like that. Right, so that will be the main agenda item. Okay, so the same thing to you guys. I was talking to you. If you're joining us in Zoom, welcome to Spring 2021. I hope you have fun taking this class in Zoom. I hope, despite the fact that you're limited by that virtual space, I hope you find a way to interact with your peers, and do something fun. Outside of the class, again, online, if that's the format that you prefer. Okay, so let's start talking about the class, about myself and the class. So here I posted my bio. You don't have to read it. There are no exam or test questions about it. So let me share my screen. Hey guys, like for those who are joining us in Zoom, if I forget to share my screen, if whatever you see on the screen doesn't make sense, let me know. Maybe sometimes, I'll just forget to share what I mean to share with you. So right now I'm talking about my bio and I'm going over the materials in Canvas. So can you see my bio file?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is how I look without mask. My photo is right here. My name is Dr. Vlad Krotov. I see some familiar faces. You took some of my classes before, so you know my name. You don't have to remember my last name. As long as you remember that my name is Dr. Vlad, I can go by that name, and that should be enough for identifying me properly in this class. Okay. I'm an associate professor of information systems and telecommunication systems management here at Murray State University at the Department of Computer Science and Information Systems. Gosh, I've been here for 6 years now almost. It feels like I just came here yesterday, but I've been here already for 6 years. So I guess I'm becoming an old timer in a way, right? So I've been here at Murray State for 6 years. Prior to joining Murray State University, I worked for 6 years at Abu Dhabi University in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. I spent 6 years there teaching on the Faculty of Management Information Systems and also serving as an assistant dean of graduate programs in the College of Business. So I was like a part-time instructor, part-time administrator. That was a great experience. I really enjoyed my life in Abu Dhabi. Like I always tell people, Abu Dhabi is like New York City, but without drugs and without crime. That's what it is. There's absolutely zero crime there. Rarely. Something happens, but rarely. And usually if it happens, it's like a murder, it's something domestic. It's not like gang related or anything like that. Right? Drugs, I haven't seen any drugs there because there's a death penalty for dealing drugs. The rule there, if they find traces of drugs in your luggage, let's say the airport, no matter how small it is, you go to jail. I've known quite a few people who went on a vacation and they smoked marijuana, which is legal in some states, and jurisdictions, right? And when they were coming back, they found those traces in their bags and they were put to jail. Now, the good thing, they're not very strict about enforcing those death penalties. What usually is going to happen, if they find a trace of drugs in your luggage, they will sentence you to like 6, 10 years in jail. Most likely you'll spend a couple of years and then they will just deport you from the country. If you get sentenced to death, the same thing will happen. They will probably keep you in jail for around 10 years, 8, 10 years, and they'll deport you back to the country. So I haven't heard about anybody actually being executed, but that's the kind of message they have for everybody. Yeah, so I really, it's also much warmer than New York. It doesn't rain. It's like a very dry desert climate. It's really hot and humid in the summer, but 9 months of the year just sunny, between 60s and 90s, something like that. So it's a great environment, very multicultural. Now, unfortunately, it's not very good for a family because if you live like in a Manhattan type of environment, it's hard to raise a family. For example, for 3 years, I didn't own a car because parking a car in the garage costs like $700 per month. That's how much a pass costs. If you want to park it in front of your house, good luck finding a spot. You will still have to pay around $300-400 per month just to park on the street. So it's hard to raise a family. So as I was thinking about getting married and starting a family, I decided to move somewhere else, somewhere which is a place which is more family friendly. So my luck led me to Murray, and I got more than I wished for. I think it's a great place for families, for kids. We have a great school system, no traffic, right? So I'm really grateful that I ended up here. Although at first it was a big shock. You know, I always thought of myself as I'm coming from a small town. That's how I thought about myself. Well, my hometown is like 500,000 people. I'm from Ukraine originally, and it's considered to be like a smaller town, not like a major city, right? But now I feel like I'm actually a big city person, right? Because Murray is much, much smaller than that. So yeah, I've been here for 6 years. As you can tell from my title, I teach courses mostly in the computer information systems program, mostly at the graduate level. And I also teach some courses related to telecommunication system management. Sometimes it's overlapping, like this course, where we have students from the telecom side, from the CIS side, and also from computer science side, right? So sometimes I teach courses on the computer science side as well, but to a lesser degree than CIS or telecommunication systems management. I also serve as the MSIS, Master of Science in Information Systems Program Director. So this is where most of my administrative focus is. I'm running the graduate program in the department, Master of Science in Information System. The other one that we have is Cybersecurity Management program that is run by Marsha, and I also teach in that program my project management course. Yeah, I'm an active researcher. I think for a student, an instructor is somebody who teaches classes. That's how you see professors who work here. I would say that at least 30% of my working hours I spend doing research. Most of my research fall under the umbrella of IT strategy, a very high level perspective on the use of technology or information systems within organizations. So here we're talking about such topics as innovation, competitive advantage, gaining competitive advantage with the help of technology, leadership, strategic planning, and things like that. And another stream of research that I do is related to data science. I do a lot of work involving R language, like data analysis, developing R tools, and that had led me to such research interest as legal and ethical matters when it comes to handling data, specifically web data, data from the web. I think it largely falls under the umbrella of web scraping. Web scraping is the term for sourcing data from the web. And in this class, we'll do an exercise involving web scraping where we have to source, organize, and analyze data from the web. Okay, so those are my research interests. My research has won a number of awards. Sorry, I'm going to brag a little bit. So I was recognized as the top researcher in the College of Business. I think it was in 2015. Then in 2017, I received the Emerging Scholar Award. That's a university-wide award for early career researchers. And I received like a number of other recognitions. So this is something that I like doing. I bring my research to class sometimes. All the students sometimes don't like it. They want something that is more down to earth, right? They want something like, well, show me how to press, buttons in Excel, and I'll get a good grade. So that's the kind of mentality that some students have. But I still like to do it because I believe that a university is not just like a vocational school where you teach skills, right? I mean, I understand the pragmatics of things. You need to have skills to get a job and things like that. But I also believe that a university is a place that kind of pushes your thinking, where you develop yourself intellectually. So that's why I bring that research. It's not practical, but hopefully it kind of pushes people to think like far beyond the skills, like the immediate technicalities of what they're doing in class, right? I believe that this is what the university is about because if you're just interested in skills, then there are like better and less expensive ways to do it. Like you can take courses from Udemy, you can sign up for some kind of technical program in a community college and things like that, right? So yeah, I like to use research in my classes as well, and I'll show you some of the research papers that are relevant to this class as well, at an appropriate time. I've done quite a bit of consulting. Most of my consulting work involved data analysis, and for some reason, data analysis in the healthcare sector. I don't know why I got into this. I have nothing to do with healthcare, but I think when I lived in Abu Dhabi, they had a very booming healthcare sector where hospitals were hiring a bunch of people, hiring consultants. So I ended up hired by several hospitals. Actually, some of those hospitals are run by Johns Hopkins and then Cleveland Clinic. So I worked for them as a consultant, helping their employees gather, analyze, and report data in relation to their own internal projects. So yeah, I worked for like 4 or 5 hospitals back there. I also did one project here. Gosh, maybe just keep in mind, there's a well-known hospital in this area. It's like 2 hours, it has like I forgot the first word. The second one is Baptist. So what's the first word? Which one? Not Western.
I just know it as Baptist Health and like
No, it's not in Paducah. It's like a couple of hours away from here. Well, anyways, I forgot. It's a well-known hospital. Sorry, I just escaped my mind. Maybe I listed it here. It keeps in Houston Baptist, but it's not. The reason I'm saying Houston because I lived in Houston for 6 years, but it's not Houston. It's like another name before Baptist. So it's a well-known hospital. I did the same thing. I kind of did workshop with them, involving Excel, helping nurses, doctors, managers at the hospital understand better how Excel can be used for addressing their operational problems. And half of this course is also, by the way, is related to Excel. Is it Medicine Baptist? I forgot. Well, anyways, maybe I'll look it up later. So I talked about my administrative experience. Prior to working at Abu Dhabi University, I spent 6 years. 6 years in Houston. So I lived there. I studied at the University of Houston. This is where I got my doctoral degree in. Yeah, you don't have to read it, just kind of verbalizing everything. So yeah, I lived in Houston, Texas. I don't miss Houston that much. I mean, it's a great city in many ways. I think one thing that I like about Houston is that it has great cuisine. In my opinion, Houston has #1 restaurant scene at least in the country, maybe in the world as well, right? I personally put Houston above New York because New York is really, there are great restaurants there, but it's too upscale, too expensive, right? In Houston, you can get any meal from any country, of any quality, of any type for a very reasonable price, right? I personally believe that Houston has best Mexican restaurants in the United States. That's 100%, right? And then they have anything else that you want. For example, the best Thai restaurant that I went to, the best Malaysian restaurant were both in Houston. They have this kind of Chinatown / Asian neighborhood area, and then the best Asian restaurants are right there, okay? By the way, it's not only me. I have a relative who's a professional chef, and he worked in a number of places. And he also told me he believes that Houston is #1, in terms of restaurants, very much underappreciated. The other great thing about Houston is the infrastructure is real world class. I've never seen such a sophisticated highway infrastructure anywhere, right? And I've been to many places. They're really doing a great job with the roads. What I don't miss about Houston, traffic. It's really horrendous. When I lived in Houston, I don't bother scheduling meetings in the morning because I know if I schedule something for 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., I will spend 1.5 hours in traffic or something like that. So the way I work in Houston, I either come to office very early, by 7 a.m. So I wake up at 5 a.m. or I just don't bother coming in the morning. I just wait until closer to noon, and that's when I come to the office. And the same thing about night. I don't bother going anywhere between 4 and 7 p.m. in Houston because, again, you'll spend 2 hours, 3 hours standing in traffic. So I either leave work before 4 or I stay closer to midnight so I can spend 20 minutes going home as opposed to 1.5, 2 hours getting stuck in traffic or something like that. The other thing I don't miss about Houston is the hurricane season, right? Every year there's a major hurricane coming in and you need to adjust to it, you need to do something about it. And crime, that's something that bothers me. In Houston, my car got broken 3 times, I think. And my car really is a cheap car. I wouldn't understand if somebody broke into an expensive car or something like that, but I had this old Saturn, and every time they break in, I think 2 times they actually removed stereo from the panel. One time they did not remove stereo, they just searched my car. But again, there's nothing in my car, there's nothing valuable, right? Except that stereo that costs what? I guess if you sell it in the black market, maybe $20, $50 or something like that. Well, anyways, that's something I don't miss about Houston. Luckily here, we don't have traffic, right? So it's all good. Sometimes I joke, I come late to meetings here and I say I'm sorry, I got stuck in traffic. It's a joke, but some people don't get it. They think I'm real. And then I remember once somebody said, oh, did you see what's happening on 649? They have a lot of cars there. So they think that 649, that main road going from America has a lot of traffic. But again, it's nothing compared to Houston, the kind of traffic sometimes that they have there. Okay, I told you that my main hobby right now is woodworking. I got stuck in COVID situations, so I started working with wood, and now it's a bit more it's a little bit of a business now. I also like traveling. It's been my #1 hobby. I may be wrong about those numbers. I kind of stopped counting, but I think I've visited around 25 countries, right? And I've been to most US states. I think I've been to like 40, 45 US states. The only states I haven't been to are really a handful. I haven't been like on that west side. The only states I haven't been to is Alaska and Montana, right? On that east corner side, I haven't been to a few states like Connecticut, Vermont, Rhode Island. What else? Been to Massachusetts. So maybe like only a few, you know, so maybe it's like closer to 50. You know, there are like, I know that there are a few states in that north eastern corner that I haven't been to, and Montana and Alaska on the west coast. Everything else I've been to. So I've been to more states than most Americans actually. Yeah, I've been to around 25 countries. The countries that I really want to come back to, the ones that I really love, are probably, I have two favorite countries to visit. One is New Zealand, and the other one is Oman. They're really beautiful countries in its own way. And I feel like the energy, the vibe that comes from this country is really positive. I mean, it's just so like you feel so welcome, you feel so comfortable there, right? And New Zealand, I don't know if you saw like Lord of the Rings, so it kind of gives you an idea of the kind of landscapes that they have. Oman is just like that. It's as dramatic, but it's more of a desert climate. You have those desert mountains. You have those turquoise waters like with huge brutal waves. So it's a very beautiful country. Speaking about Oman, I drove through the entire desert. It's like 2,000 kilometers in a car. And, you know, in the middle of the desert, there's just nothing, like small gas stations, you know. So I once stopped at a gas station, and the owner, he said he saw that the license plate is from Abu Dhabi. He couldn't speak English that much, but he was kind of saying, "Are you traveling?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Are you tired?" I said, "Yeah." You know, he was basically trying to ask me to sleep in his house for free. He has this area in the gas station where his workers sleep. It's like a bedroom with bunk beds. And he was telling me, "Look, if you're tired, you know, you just sleep in my sleeping area, no problem at all. I won't charge you anything." I said, "No, thank you." And then eventually he didn't charge me for dinner. You know, I ate at his gas station. We ate some food, and he did, "No, it's a gift. You know, go ahead." So, you know, I'm just telling you like an example of the kind of vibe coming from people. I haven't seen like anybody in a different country trying to give me free things just for no reason, right? So yeah, this is where I like to travel. Unfortunately, all of my travels have stopped because of COVID. So what I do right now, I watch a lot of YouTube videos about traveling. You know, I keep watching about different countries, you know, those travel bloggers. Now, fortunately, there are a lot of good ones nowadays, right? Also, the show that I watch a lot about, I guess, traveling is called Caribbean Life on Hulu. It's about buying houses in the Caribbean. So I think my next destination will be Caribbean. I didn't know that it's kind of cheap and easy to fly to Caribbean from Nashville and Atlanta. You can have a straight flight to Aruba, Cancun, and all those things. So I guess once things clear up a little bit with COVID, that's where I would like to go. Okay. Just to wrap it up, to wrap this discussion up. Originally, I'm from Ukraine. I already mentioned that. That's a country in Eastern Europe. I'm fluent in several languages, so I'm fluent in English to the extent that you can see right now. My native language is Russian, and I'm also fluent in Ukrainian, which is a state language in Ukraine. Also, in college, I took 4 semesters of German, because by the time I went to college, I was already fluent in English. Most people would take English as their foreign language, right? So I kind of felt dumb sitting like an intro to English classes or English 101. So I decided to take German classes. So I had like I had basic knowledge of German where I could explain what I did over summer vacation, but I haven't been using it for many years. So it's kind of vanishing. So I don't say that I'm fluent in German anymore because it's kind of, I only have like a few words left in my brain. Everything else is gone. So I'm married. I have 2 kids. I have 2 cats. Actually, I wasn't much of a cat person, but I kind of inherited those cats with the house. The owner abandoned them. So they're like feral cats. I kind of like it that way because they don't bother me. I just feed them twice a day. You know, sometimes I take care of them, like give them medicine for fleas, you know, things like that. But they're nice cats. They don't bother me. They're very independent. And I also have a dog. I mean, again, I wasn't much of a dog person, but I always wanted to try owning a dog. So I have a lab, a puppy. He's 6 months. Now that's a bit of a challenge because dogs, you know, he's very needy. You know, he always wants to be around me. I play with him like 3 times a day, but it's still not enough. The other thing about him is that he destroys things. I mean, I play with him a lot, but whenever he's left alone, he will always destroy something. He almost chewed my optical cable going to my house. So I almost lost my internet connection because of him, right? So I'm doing my best to manage him, but he is very opportunistic, very smart dog, but very opportunistic. Whenever he's like, he kind of looks humble and very non-aggressive, but whenever there's an opportunity for mischief, he will always take advantage of the situation, right? I guess maybe it will pass once he becomes older, right? He will not be as adventurous. What do you think? Or he will always be like that? Does anybody own a dog? So how does it work? Is he still young? That's why he's causing trouble, or depends. Well, my relatives had lab, and he was the best, sweetest dog that I've seen, and he would never destroy anything in the house. But this dog is really, he has a lot of toys, you know, he has a lot of things to do, but he likes to chew on the furniture. If he finds like any kind of meal, he will just rip it right away. Any advice? Yeah, I've read that their puppy stage is like until 2 years or so. Well, anyways, we're handling it, but you know, I had to spend a lot of money building like fencing and cages around air conditioning because I don't want him to destroy my air conditioner and then me pay $10,000 to replace it or something. And I don't want him to be hurt as well. So that's what I do right now. My daughter and my wife are helping me with this dog because I don't have enough energy to handle him properly. Okay, so that's it. That's my background, professional, personal background. Any personal questions? Anything that I forgot? Anything important that I forgot to cover? What about you guys in Zoom? Do you have any questions? Do you want to ask something? Did I miss something important?
No, sir.
Everything is good? Okay. All right, so I'm not going to ask you to introduce yourself because I don't think we have a time and technology for that. I'll tell you towards the end of the class what I would like you to do, and you can earn 1 point extra credit if you do it properly, okay? Now let's move to the main agenda of today's class, which is talking about the class itself. I cannot scroll here. Okay, so let's talk about this class. And I would like to make an exclaimer or an apology of some sort. You know, when I go through the syllabus, sometimes I guess I'm cynical or dramatic. My wife says that I over dramatize things. And I keep telling her it's my way to make things memorable, right? Sometimes when you exaggerate things a little bit, people will remember it better. So when I talk about cheating, about catching students cheating or disciplining, it's not that I'm talking about you. I'm just trying to give you like an example of how things might be, right? And by the way, those negative things, they rarely happen. I mean, rarely I have to deal with things like cheating or discipline problems. So I apologize if it sounds like I'm talking down on you or something like that when I go through those cases and situations. I'm just trying to be, I guess, open, frank about how things look from my side sometimes. Also, nothing is carved in stone at this point. So if as I go through the syllabus, something doesn't make sense to you, you feel like it's a bad approach or bad way of handling it, let me know. Don't be shy. I mean, we can discuss those things today. We can still change the rules. In fact, I appreciate if you have better ideas on how to do things to make things better for everybody, let me know, right? I don't view it like some kind of challenge to my authority or personal insult or anything like that. Let me know if something doesn't make sense to you, right? Overall, in this class, I think we can discuss different things. You know, we can criticize each other as long as we're respectful, right? We're not attacking values, personalities, right? We're just saying, look, you know, there's a better way of doing it and things like that. So feel free to jump in at any point as I discuss the syllabus, okay? And you guys too in Zoom, if you want to add something, I'm not looking at the chat room, right? So use your voice to just interject if you have to say something about the syllabus. So I'll open the syllabus in Zoom, but you can also open that file in Canvas so you can have it in front of you. And you can quickly glance in Zoom to see which section I'm talking about. Do you see my syllabus on the screen?
Yes, sir.
We do.
Again, you can open your own file if that's what you prefer. Okay, so let's start talking about the syllabus. Once again, my name is Dr. Vlad. That's all you need to remember. My office is 652F. It's upstairs right here. But again, due to COVID situation, I don't spend much time in the office. I mean, maybe I stop there once a week. My real office is in my basement nowadays. So this is where I broadcast and do things. Near my dog's kennel. He also lives in the basement with me right now. So if you want to reach me, again, this is my office phone. I'm not in the office. Maybe what I will do, I will somehow redirect my office phone to my personal cell phone. I guess that's an option. So yeah, I'll do that, and I'll tell you when it works. I prefer if you need to contact me, please use Canvas. Use that Canvas inbox feature. You know what I'm talking about, right? The reason I'm asking you that because I want all emails related to a course to be in one place so that I know exactly who you are, which course you're talking about. If I forget to respond, I can always go back and check emails, right? So please try not to use my Murray State email for contacting me, okay? Use my Murray State email address right here only as a last resort. Let's say you send me a message in Canvas and you didn't get any response, then maybe send me a follow-up to my Murray State email, just like as a second line. But normally you don't have to use it, okay? You know, I just realized maybe you are that way. I get so many emails on my Murray State and I really lose it. I mean, I open every day, there are like 45, 50 messages. Sometimes I just don't see like important email. And you know, most of those messages are organizational spam, like all kinds of updates, announcements, you know, things like that. But if you send it in Canvas, then maybe I'll not notice it immediately, but I can always kind of go back and say, oh, I missed that message, I need to respond to it. Normally, I respond very quickly within the same day. But again, if you send me a message and you're not getting response, then please send within one day. Then send a follow-up or send me an email to my Murray State. Okay. Now, if it's something related to the course, right? If it's something related to the course, then post your question to Canvas. Okay. So, for example, right here in Canvas. In about the course section, about the course, you have course Q&A. If you have general questions about the course, post your question there so that everybody can see our discussion, right? Maybe they also have the same question. And if you see a question and you think you know the answer, then feel free to respond to your peers as well, okay? In fact, I would really appreciate it. Also, if you have a question about, let's say, we'll start working on decision support systems. If you have questions about this module, something related to homework, then post your question there, okay? Use email only if it's something that is only related to you, something that you don't want others to see, okay? Something that is personally related to you, okay? So I'll try to be disciplined about responding to those discussion threads. But again, if I miss your discussion post, send me an email in Canvas or to my Murray State account saying, look, I posted this question in Canvas, you're not responding. Again, I'm doing my best to respond promptly, but you know, sometimes it's a behavioral problem. It's like information overload. There are too many messages coming from Canvas, and I just overlook that, okay? So here's my teaching schedule. So if you want to catch me after class, I mean, that rarely happens. But if it's something very important, you can catch me, you know, I don't know, before class, or after class, if you really need to see me. My office hours are right there. They're in Zoom, okay? And you know, sometimes, to be honest, I have problems maintaining office hours in Zoom because nobody comes to those office hours, right? So I have Zoom running, and then I say, okay, nobody's there, so I'll go play with my dog, or I'll go do something around the house. And then I come back and I see somebody join it. So I apologize. Sometimes I'm just, I don't know what, I'm not very disciplined about those office hours. I just find it very boring to sit in front of the computer doing nothing sometimes, right? So I'll do my best. You know, I'm there. I mean, I'm working behind my computer, but sometimes, you know, I leave my basement office to go outside or something like that. So I apologize if this happens. If you really want to make sure that I'm there, then schedule a meeting. Just send me an email saying, I would like to join you like on the following day and time. And by the way, this can be outside of office hours as well, right? So if you cannot talk to me during office hours, we'll schedule something outside and we'll talk in Zoom. So I prefer meeting with people in Zoom. I don't see why we would meet face-to-face in this class, right? Unless there's something long and important to discuss. Okay, so we meet twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. to 3:15 p.m., right? On Tuesdays, we meet in 552, which is this room, So we usually have something of a lecture or software demonstration. On Thursdays, we meet in the lab where we have lab work, okay? The lab is 455 downstairs, right there in the middle of the hallway, okay? For the first few weeks, I think 4 weeks, we're just gonna have lectures with some like brief hands-on exercises. And then we'll go, like after 4 weeks, we'll go into actual lab work where every Thursday we'll be working together, okay? When we work in a lab or when I'm here in the classroom lecturing, I will broadcast everything through Zoom, okay? So if you miss our face-to-face class for whatever reason, you can always watch our broadcast in real time in Zoom, okay? If you cannot make it to class. Again, let me know if there are any, I know that sometimes things are tricky on Zoom, if there are any quality problems, because, you know, sometimes it gets to the point, for me personally, you know, I came a full circle. When I first came to Murray State, I didn't use Zoom. We had Blackboard Collaborate, which was very similar to Zoom, okay? I used it to broadcast all of my classes, and then I realized it did not work for a number of reasons. Number one, quality, you know, sometimes people cannot hear me because I get up or microphone is not that good. Sometimes when you're lecturing things, you are digressing a lot, you know, by responding to questions and things like that. So I found out that a lot of students found my broadcast not to be very useful. So instead of doing broadcast, I started pre-recording my lectures. Because when you pre-record things, you have complete control over sound quality, what people see, what people hear, you can edit it, right? And also it's very focused, right? I realized that when I'm not lecturing, I can explain what I need to explain within 30 minutes, as opposed to using like 1 hour or 1 hour, 15 minutes, right? So I did those recordings, but then some students were saying, well, you know, it's really kind of artificial. They want to have something of a live lecture because it helps you, you know, it keeps you motivated, keeps you connected to the course where you attend something live, right? So for this course, I'm doing both, okay? I'll be doing live broadcast. I also have pre-recorded lectures on YouTube explaining assignments, certain theoretical concepts, and I'll talk about it in a second, right? I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are many options for you to catch up if you miss a class. And I know that given the situation, a lot of people will miss a class or a few classes. So I'm giving you plenty of opportunities to catch up. If you miss a class, let's say you cannot make to class because of health concerns, then watch us in Zoom. If you cannot watch us in Zoom, then watch my YouTube lecture, right? Find a way to catch up so that you're keeping up with the course, okay? You know, technology is always like a pendulum, like technology fashion, it always swings back and forth. I mean, we started with those broadcasts, then people didn't like it, we went back to recordings, now we're going back to broadcasts. Now, a few words about the content of the course. This course is devoted to decision-making tools. So we will learn how to make decisions, mostly in a business organizational context, okay? How to make decisions using data and certain data management tools. More specifically in this class, we will use Excel and Access, right? Now, a few words about decision-making. It's a very important skill. You know, some people believe that, let's say, working as a manager within any organization, be it educational organization, technology organization, bank, it's all about making decisions, right? That's the main task of any kind of manager, any kind of leader. A lot of people say, like, you know, I hear this from computer scientists, they're saying, well, that's why I became a computer science major, because I don't want to deal with people, I don't want to deal with organizations. Well, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You're writing code for within an organization, for another organization, right? So you cannot avoid organizational issues. And also, even if you're a hardcore developer, like you're the kind of person who likes to sit in front of a computer all day, you still need, you know, you may still end up being like a senior developer or an architect or something like that, where you do have to deal with people, make administrative decisions, right? So decision-making is valuable no matter what, okay? Again, we're gonna talk about decision-making based on data. And when it comes to tools, you know, Microsoft Access is not like a, how should I put it? It's not like an industry-grade database, right? But it's good for our purposes. By using this database, you will expose yourself to the basics of database design. So if you take a more advanced course on databases, let's say 407, I know that some computer science people take CIS 407, which is a database course. You'll be well prepared. You know, you'll have an easy start. You'll go into a lot of details, because here we're not going to go into some details when it comes to designing databases, but we'll cover all the basics, and then we'll apply all those basics to Microsoft Access database management system. Okay. Although I still see people using Microsoft Access for developing solutions for kind of mid-sized organizations, We once had a student here who developed a database for a local aluminum company, and I think they had like 200 or 300 employees. It was a fairly big organization, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say that it's more of a learning tool, but it's still useful. Now, Excel, on the other hand, it is still industry standard when it comes to data science, data analysis, right? People like to bash Microsoft and Microsoft products. Like it or not, Excel is still #1 when it comes to data analysis. Everybody uses Excel, from teachers in elementary schools all the way to security professionals, because they will open packets or security logs, login logs in an Excel, and they will look at it using Excel, right? I was even surprised. You probably haven't heard about, I don't know whether you've heard about it or not, the Enron accounting scandal. Like, there was a big energy company in Houston. And I was watching, I was really interested in that case because I lived in Houston at that time. And it's a fascinating story. If you want to learn more about the story, read the book called Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room. It's a really great book about people, why smart people do dumb things, how a smart, successful, ethical person becomes a crook. It's a really great book about that. Well, anyways, when I was looking at their court proceedings, this chief accounting officer, this lady who was the whistleblower for that accounting scandal case, she was like testifying in court. And I would imagine a company like Enron would use some kind of sophisticated ERP system for generating financial reports. This lady was using Excel to generate financial reports for Enron, which was a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? I guess what I'm trying to say, Excel is a very valuable tool. People are doing all kinds of things. Even enterprise-grade platforms like SaaS, sometimes they have Excel interface where you have this whole monster on the back end, but when it comes to the user end, you're just using Excel sheet to interact with that system, okay? So we'll spend half of this course. Oh, somebody's waiting in the room, sorry. Sorry, I didn't see your admit request. Can you see the syllabus? But anyway, somebody's joining us. So yeah, Excel is a very powerful tool. Don't worry if you are not that proficient in Excel. This course is designed in a way where I'll give people a chance to catch up with Excel before we start doing actual work. I'm thinking we're going to have like a workshop, like a boot camp, where we catch up with Excel together if you need it, because some people know Excel. Like my wife, she knows Excel better than I do, although she never took a formal course through her work, right? So some people know Excel really well. So if that's the case, then you can test out of that module. You can just say, take the test to show me that you know something about Excel, the Excel basics. If you think you need it, you can join that workshop with us, okay? So I'll let you catch up with both Excel and Access, no need to worry about it, okay? Also, this course is set mostly in a business context, and I understand that some of you are not, like for example, if you're computer scientists, you're not business majors. But again, you see, my opinion is that you cannot be a computer scientist in general, right? You need to be a computer scientist within a particular area. The same thing for telecommunications people. Now, I know that telecom people, they call it cybersecurity now, right? I know that you have to take some business courses, like in accounting, right? So you're a bit more prepared. And again, you need to understand the context of the organization where you're working. For example, the CSI, Computer Services Incorporated, they work mostly with banks, and I'm sure they will appreciate somebody who not only understands telecom side, but also understands the banking side, right? So in this class, we'll do quite a few cases involving banks, financial institutions. Again, this is like, I'm doing it on purpose to expose people to a context they may not be aware of. Business is not rocket science, it's just basic ideas. If you know math, you should be able to understand like how financial statements are calculated. In this class, we'll spend a lot of time working together on those financial statements. So the idea here is to give you exposure to that area of financial analysis. By the way, if you can combine technical skills with knowledge of accounting, finance, marketing, business, that could be a very powerful combination. For example, I know that, like, let's say you're a pure database person, right? I know that people who do database administration for financial companies in New York, the ones that I knew, their salaries start at around $200,000 per year. Now, that's a staggering amount for a lot of people, but in New York, it's not that much, but it's a good salary, right? So if you can combine, let's say, knowledge of databases with the understanding of finance, investments, financial transactions, that could be a very powerful combination. The same thing about security, like if you If you know something about network security and you combine it with the knowledge of accounting, then you can do some kind of forensics, investigation. You can do like kind of backtracking of transactions and things like that. It's also a very highly paid field. For example, my cousin, she was for many years, she was a C++ developer, and she ended up working in banks. Eventually, she learned a lot about the banking side of business, and now she works as a chief technical officer for a major bank, and she makes a lot of money. And she kind of deviated from that. She still works with programmers, but it's more about her telling programmers like what needs to be done, what kind of projects needs to be done, right? So what I'm trying to say is that you should view it as an opportunity to learn something, to learn more about business, because maybe you'll branch out career-wise into something that's more business-oriented. Okay, so that's the content of this class. Any questions about the content so far? What this course is about? It's all clear. Okay, learning objectives. So we'll use Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel to learn how to address organizational managerial problem using data. We will also learn how to use Microsoft Excel and Access in an integrated fashion. And also we will talk about some emerging topics in data science, old and emerging. We'll talk about such old topics as decision support systems, business intelligence. And then towards the end of the class, we'll talk about big data and artificial intelligence. So this is something on the horizons of data analysis. Now, those goals are in partial support of the overall Bachelor of Business Administration or Bachelor of Science and Business program. Here's the content outline. It's a really tentative outline. It gives you like an approximate idea of what we're going to cover in this course, how the course will be structured. The real course outline is in Canvas, right? So let me switch. By the way, I posted everything already in Canvas. I may do some tweaks, I may change some deadlines, I may rearrange things a bit, but the entire course is pretty much published in Canvas. You can see like what kind of deliverables, what kind of topics we have. So whenever I change something, I change it to Canvas, so you should be able to see those updates. And if it's an important change, I'll send an announcement to everybody. I'll say, look, the deadline for this assignment has changed. By the way, when I do it, I don't do those changes to make things more difficult for students. I usually do it to make things easier for students, right? So I don't think I will ever push the deadline to an earlier date. I would move it to a later date or something like that, right? So that's the kind of changes that I do here. So keep an eye on my announcements. I usually make like one announcement per week, at least one announcement per week, telling everybody what to expect during this week, okay? So please read those announcements so that you have like a rough idea what we're doing. Again, if it's something important, let's say an upcoming exam or something like that, I'll post another announcement, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say, please pay attention to my announcement. I try not to spam too much. I don't send too many announcements. But if I do send it, it means that I want you to read it, right? So please read all of my announcements. Try not to ignore them, okay? Okay, instructional activity. So this is how it's going to work. For the first 4 classes or so, we're just going to have lectures, okay? After that, we're going to start doing some lab work. So the way it will work is that you come here to class, I explain what needs to be done, right? We talk about the conceptual side of things, like what needs to be done in theory. Then you come to the lab and we work together on the practical aspect of that assignment. So we implement it, okay? When you're in the lab, I'm there to help you. I'm not going to do too much lecture. I may do some demonstrations and explanations, like depending on our needs, but it'll be mostly you working on assignments. I highly recommend that you come to the lab, right? Because, the most powerful time management technique that I know of is called time boxing. Have you heard about time boxing? It's not like fighting. Time boxing is like a box. If you want to get something done, then create a box of time where you work on that thing, right? So treat it as a time box. Come to the lab to get things done, right? And I'll be there to help you so that if you get stuck, we can figure out together like why it's not working, right? So come to the lab to work. A lot of people start thinking that the lab, that our lab sessions are somehow like not required. And in a way, they are not required. Like I don't have a mechanism to really punish you for not attending those lab sessions, right? But it's a good thing for you because You have that time box devoted to this classwork. So come to the lab, get things done, do as much as you can, and then hopefully you'll be free to do other things, right? So please come to the lab. Don't get into this mode where, just gonna sleep at home. I'm gonna watch the, I'm gonna join in Zoom, or I'm gonna do it at night. We know how it's gonna work, right? You will wake up late, you will eat, you will watch TV, and then the next thing you know, the whole day is gone and you haven't done anything, right? So to keep yourself engaged, to keep yourself abreast with what we're doing, come to the lab to get work done. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say here. Also, we'll be interacting hopefully in Canvas. If you have questions about assignments, post your questions in Canvas. I'll try to respond as soon as I can. Yeah, I mentioned that. We have a textbook for this course. This is where cases will come from. Please get this textbook. You know, I've been harassed by publishers for a long time because I refuse to update the textbook. There are newer versions of the textbook, but you know, Excel hasn't changed much since 2015. Business hasn't changed much. If you upgrade to a newer version, you'll just end up spending more money, right? I know that this book, you can buy it like a new one for around 30 bucks. If you buy a used one, it's less than that. You can buy on Amazon for a much smaller price, okay? Maybe for the first assignment, we're talking about within the next 2 weeks or so, I'll give you printouts of those cases in case you don't have a book. But then I will stop because it also becomes like a copyright infringement issue if I keep making copies for everybody, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say, try to get it. I'll give you some time to get it in case you want to order, let's say from an online store and get a good price. You'll have some time to wait for it, but get it very soon, okay, so that we can start using it. We will be using this textbook quite a bit for cases involving Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel, okay? Okay, quizzes. Once we finish a module, we typically have a quiz, okay? For these first two modules, which is about the instructor and about the course, you don't have to worry about anything. Come to the lab, we'll take those quizzes together. We'll take one quiz, the syllabus quiz, and we'll work on assignment 1, which is really like a student survey, right? I just want to work together so we get started, like we understand how it works in general, like what are the requirements, we troubleshoot problems if they happen. But after that, after we complete the module, I'll ask you to take a quiz. And in order for you to take, you'll do it from home. You won't have to do it in class, but you will have to use Respondus Lockdown browser. You know what I'm talking about, right? That anti-cheating system to take those quizzes. The quizzes are timed. You have 1 attempt. Look, the weight associated with quizzes is not that great. It's only 10%, but hopefully it will force you to keep up with everything that we're doing here, right? Because I know that if you don't have quizzes, sometimes people will wait until final exam to start studying, right? So those quizzes hopefully will motivate you to keep up with what we're doing. And also they will give you an idea where you stand if you were to take an actual exam, right? So if you keep getting bad grades for quizzes, it means that something needs to change. You're not gonna do well during exams either, okay? In this class, we're gonna have 3 exams. 4 exams. I'm gonna mistake myself. So they're more like big quizzes. I'll ask you to take them at home. They're a bit more protected than quizzes because I will ask you to use the so-called Respondus monitor, which means you will use like a working webcam to show me that you're not cheating when you take this exam, right? Do you know what I'm talking about or not? Is there any, well, anyways, you'll find out soon what exactly I'm talking. Go ahead.
Are we not going to be using lockdown for the quizzes?
For the quizzes, we'll use Lockdown browser.
As well?
Yeah. For the exams, not only you will use Lockdown browser, you will also need to have a working webcam connected to the internet. So it's called Respondus monitor, like another layer of security, right? Now, the way I structure this course, like my exams, they kind of reverse. You know, the hardest exam, I think, is exam 1, and the easiest exam is exam 4. They're really like big quizzes, right? I do it on purpose because I don't like to leave too many deliverables, too much pressure towards the end of the semester. So I want to do most of the things in the beginning of the semester and then keep things light towards the end of the semester, okay? So towards the end of the semester, we're just gonna have some lectures, optional bonus assignments and things like that. And exam 4 is like the easiest in the sense that it covers the least material, okay? So if you really need a great boost, this is your chance. You can really ace exam 4 because it's the easiest one. And then when I ask you to take those exams, I'm not going to do it in the lab because of COVID. You will do it at home with those security procedures. And typically I'll give you like some slack time to kind of catch up with things, study for the exam. And especially during COVID, I know people are struggling, juggling a lot of things. So for example, if exam is on Thursday, I will give you on Tuesday as a day off. It will be like an optional study day where you can either stay at home and study or ask me questions in Zoom. So it's kind of light day before the actual exam. So I'll give you a chance to ask questions about the material, about the exam, to catch up, to study and things like that, right? Okay, assignments. There will be a total of 10 assignments, approximately 10 assignments. The lowest grade will be dropped, just like the lowest grade for the quizzes, it will be dropped. So you can miss one assignment, you can do a poor job on one assignment. Or if you do it, I can give you some bonus assignments as well. So if you do it, it will be like more of a bonus, okay? Those assignments are meant for you to work on independently. But again, if we're working in the lab, you can ask for help. I mean, I'll help you with your assignments. Maybe you can ask peers. Some people don't like talking to me. They like to talk to the person to the left or the right. That's fine, as long as it's your own work. And every once in a while, I see students who cut corners with those assignments. I suspect they don't do their work, although I cannot catch them. I cannot prove it 100%. But then they will get punished during exams, because if you're not doing those assignments on your own, then you will not be able to answer some of the exam questions, okay? So do those assignments on your own, do them properly, and that will be tied to your exam grade as well, I think. Attendance and participation. Now, this is actually something I want to get your opinion on, okay? I don't know what's the best way to do it. I've tried different ways, and everything that I try, it has some cons and pros, okay? Well, guys, let me tell you what the rule is, and then I'll explain why I have this rule. We have 10% devoted to attendance and participation, okay? In this class, we're going to have roughly 25 meetings, which involves lectures and lab sessions, okay? The reason I'm saying roughly 25, because it's like this. We have 31 classes, I think, officially. One of those classes is a study date. It's March 30th, so it's like 30 classes. Then we're going to have 3 exams. So it's like goes down to 27 classes. Then we're going to have 2 workshops. One is like Excel, the other one is Excel, like free attendance workshops. So approximately 25 classes, okay? So every time you attend a class, you get 1 point, okay? If you attend all 20 classes and beyond, you get some bonus, right? So for example, if you attend, I don't know, 23 classes, you'll get 3 points bonus. It's not that much, but it's like an extra credit, okay? At the same time, if you miss some classes, let's say out of those 25 classes you miss, I don't know, God forbid, 7 classes, it's still like an A range, right? So I did it like in this way because I want to encourage attendance. You know what I've noticed? People who fail that class, it doesn't happen often, but every semester I'll have somebody failing that class. They're the ones who kind of give up. They just don't attend this class. They don't understand. They don't know what we're doing here because they don't come to class, right? So I want to have this motivation, reward, and punishment for people to attend class, okay? You see what I'm saying? I want to make sure there's a mechanism to track whether people are attending and give them points for that. Even if it's a lab session, and let's say you're trying to work from home, you're not attending it physically, then log in into Zoom and use the same, your real name so I can take attendance, okay? So if you attend the class, you get 1 point, okay? Now, I also use it as a punishment tool, I guess. If you attend the class, but you're not paying attention, right? Or you're disturbing others, then I will not mark you present, although you can be physically in the class, okay? Because also I want to have a mechanism to send people a message that I don't like what they're doing without it being like too confrontational or insulting, right? Again, it rarely happens, but every semester, sometimes, every semester I have to confront somebody. Usually it happens somewhere there at the back where Harrison is sitting. Somebody's sitting at the back and they're watching YouTube, right? Watching YouTube the whole class. In a way, it doesn't bother me, although I will try, like, this is how I do it. Like, if they're like watching YouTube, I will ask them questions out of the sudden to see whether they're paying attention. Obviously, they're not, but that would be like my hint to tell them that I don't like what they're doing, right? And then maybe what I will do, if I see they're YouTubing too much, I will just mark them absent because they're sitting there, who knows, doing who knows, right? Who knows what. Sometimes they get even more loud. Not only they're watching YouTube, they're showing it to other people. Say, look what this guy is doing on YouTube, and they're like laughing, right? So that's when I will have like a more active intervention. Again, I don't want this to be like a high school kind of environment where I discipline people. I really hate it myself. I don't like it, but I think what I will do, I'll just say, excuse me, like, are you paying attention or something like that, just to show you that you're disturbing others, right? And when it doesn't work, sometimes I will take you aside and I will have a conversation with you, say, look, you're bothering us, please stop doing it. Again, I'm not trying to be like tough guy, or I'm not trying to, in a way, honestly, in a way, it's up to you what you want to do, right? Just don't disturb others in class so that, so that you're not compromising the quality of the educational process for other people, okay? There was one guy in class, he kept cursing in my class, and I didn't know what to do. He just keeps like cursing, like saying the F word, like in class, so that everybody can hear. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't. Maybe again, sorry. Like maybe I'm cynical, but maybe he had some kind of disease where he cannot control himself. But a few times I had to take him inside and tell him to stop cursing in class in the lab. He kind of stopped and he started again. So I guess if you start cursing in class, I will also mark you absent or something. So that's my kind of gentle mechanism for telling people that I don't like what they're doing. Although it rarely happens, but sometimes it happens. There's only like, usually it's one person per semester who does something like that. Cursing or laughing at YouTube videos or TikTok videos, disturbing others and things like that. So what do you think about this? Is it fair? I mean, I hope you don't see it as being too rigid or too tough, right? And the other thing that we're trying to balance this whole COVID situation, right? So I don't want to be like too strict about attendance either, but at the same time, I don't want to say, oh, just do whatever you want to, like don't attend this class if you're not feeling well. I do want you to attend this class, but again, if you're not feeling well, then take some time off, do whatever you need to do to take care of your health. Your grade will not go down to F, right? You can miss some classes, things like that, okay? So do you think it's a reasonable mechanism for enforcing attendance and participation? So you can earn some bonus points if you're good about attending. You can lose some points, but you can still get an A in that area because it allows for that. Go ahead.
With the bonus points, is that just tacked on to a final grade, or is it something you feel on the quiz?
It's tied to a final grade. So you'll get like slightly more than 10%, right? Do those calculations. If you get like 25 points, it will be what? It's actually not that much. It will be what, 10.5. It will be like 0.5% of, but again, it's towards your final grade, right? So that can make a big difference. For example, if you have a high B, then that 0.5 can boost it to low A or something like that, right? Friends, if you're joining us in Zoom, again, feel free to interrupt if you have something to say. Just use your voice. Okay, attendance policy. So already I talked about attendance, right? Academic honesty policy. Again, I kind of mentioned that, rarely people cheat. Rare, like maybe once a year I catch somebody cheating. My message to you, don't do it. I mean, you can do well in this class just by doing honest work. I don't, to me, cheating is like playing casino. You will lose no matter what, right? It's not that I have supernatural abilities, but because I've been teaching for almost 15 years now, I really sense if something fishy is going on, if things do not look right. I mean, I can really sense it. I don't even have to use Turnitin to see that somebody's plagiarizing, because I know that this is not how a particular person speaks or writes. For example, I'm reading somebody's assignment, and it kind of sounds like, Jessica, for example. I kind of know how she talks, things like that. And then in the middle, there is a sentence that is written by a New York Times journalist. It's written by somebody who is really professional writer. So immediately I spot those things, and then I just use Turnitin to confirm that, to kind of show that there's hard evidence, right? What I'm trying to say, do honest work and you will do well in this class. If you cheat, there's a big chance that you will get caught. Last year I caught a person cheating in my class, not this class, a different one. And he was he thought he was smart because he had this elaborate procedure of doing it. I actually, I played like some mind games with him. I could sense that I don't want to reveal too many details, but I could sense that I could roughly understand what he was doing. And I created a trap for him where I had like a bulletproof case that he was cheating, right? So I did that. It was nerve-wracking. He was crying. He was a grown-up man, but he was crying. I'm not going to tell why he was crying, but basically there was a big chance that his whole career, education career was over because of that. It was really nerve-wracking. So what I'm trying to say, I don't want to be in that situation anymore, right? Don't put me in this situation where I have to be like a police officer, investigate what you're doing, be suspicious about you. So please don't put me in this situation. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not, gambling is never a good idea. If you go to Vegas, you can be 99% sure that you're going to lose your money. That's how it works, right? All those casinos are set up in a way to get your money, right? The same thing with cheating. I mean, maybe it's not 99. I would say it's a 90% chance that you will get caught. You will get caught in whatever you're doing, okay? Okay, so those are the standard policies. So if you have any disabilities, contact the center if you need like extra test time. You probably know that procedure. They send me an email saying that this person needs extra time. Non-discrimination policy, I mean, here, you know, it's a merit-based class. We're not treating anybody differently for whatever reason, right? It's all based on your performance. Mask covering policy. Everybody's wearing a mask, so thank you for doing that. You know, I'm a scientist and, you know, I'm critical about things, but I know masks work. I'm not saying it because I read it in New York Times, so I saw it, I've heard about it on CNN. I saw actual studies where they do experiments, like they have those cameras which capture not only your face, but air movements. And indeed, their cases are persuasive. If two people are wearing masks, and let's say I'm coughing at you, right? The chances of transmission is like between 1% and 5%, really. And if we're maintaining distance and we have good ventilation, it's really like down to 1%, right? I know for a fact it works, so thank you for wearing masks. I know that some people have a political stance where they don't wear those masks. Some people have health problems that prevents them from wearing masks. So, I mean, I understand there are exceptions from the rule, but overall, I believe it works. I very strongly believe that it works. So let's try doing it. If you forget your mask at home, I have a whole stack of masks in my bag. I bought it on Amazon. I can give you one, no problem. Not like I'll give you like this, not a reusable one. I'll just give you something like that, so you can throw it away after that. Okay, friends, you know those policies about health and safety. I just want to tell you this. If in doubt, stay at home, right? Don't ask me like, oh, do you think I should come in class? It's like, you know, my wife likes to ask me, do you think we can eat this or like something from the fridge or we should throw it away? And what I told her a few times, I said, look, the very fact that you're asking this question, which means you have some doubts, right? If you have some doubt, just throw it away. Because we don't want to eat something and then be poisoned as a family or something like that. If you have any doubts about whether to eat it or not, just throw it away, right? The same thing applies here. If you have any doubts about your health, just stay at home. Don't ask me any permissions. Don't ask my opinion. Stay at home. We have Zoom. We have YouTube. There are many ways you can catch up, okay? Communication policy. Yeah, please use Canvas for sending me emails. I would appreciate that. Assignment submission policy. I may give you up to 10% penalty for every day late. I'm not going to do it immediately, but if I see it's becoming a pattern where like first you submit an assignment 5 minutes late after the midnight, then you submit it like 1 hour late, then you submit it like in the morning, then I'll start giving you penalties for that, okay? Makeup exam policy. If you have a valid reason for missing an exam, I'll give you a makeup exam, no problem, but make sure, be reasonable, okay? Make sure it's a valid reason. Good airfare prices is not a good reason for missing exam. You know, sometimes students come to me and say, you know what? I saw that great ticket price to Las Vegas and I decided to go there during my exam time. And I said, look, you'll be enjoying your time in Las Vegas while I'm working on makeup exam for you, right? That's not fair. That's not like a valid reason to miss a class, right? And, you know, I believe you, like, I don't, like, don't bring me your medical history to show me like that you had a surgery. I mean, I trust you, just be reasonable on your side. Don't give me extra work for nothing, right? Because for me to schedule a makeup exam is extra work. And I don't mind doing that extra work as long as I don't find out that you're enjoying your time in Las Vegas while I'm doing this makeup exam for you, right? I once had a student, I guess he had a big family because every month he has either a wedding or a funeral, right? So every month he comes to me and says, I have a wedding to attend, I have a funeral to attend. And it's always in those cushy places like Las Vegas, Chicago, New York, right? So it's either he has family all over the United States or he's just enjoying his time somewhere while I'm doing that extra work. So don't be that guy. And then AACSB rule, this course counts toward business hours, so you should not have more than 25% business courses if you're not a business major. I know it's a bit bureaucratic, but I have to voice it. Okay, friends, so let's go back to the Canvas page if you don't mind. So any questions about the syllabus? We're done with that. We'll just talk about some final moments in Canvas. Friends, if you're joining us in Zoom, do you have any questions about the syllabus?
No, sir.
Everything is clear?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, if you have questions later, you can always post them here in general course Q&A, okay? Okay, friends, so just to wrap up, this is our YouTube channel. This is where I have all of my lectures pre-recorded. My YouTube channel is really, you know, it really sucks. I only have like 50 subscribers after 4 years, very few subscribers. So subscribe if you want to. I post my lectures there. I also have Respondus Lockdown Browser Start Guide in case you don't know how to use it. I think most people know how to use it. Assignment grading rubric. I'll talk more about it on Thursday, but this is the rubric that I'm using for assigning quantitative scores few assignments. They're very generic criteria about meeting requirements, the artifact is working, the quality of related work is high. So take a look. This is how I will grade every assignment. The syllabus quiz, you don't have to worry about it right now. I mean, I guess I'm not going to punish you if you take this quiz at home, but I'm hoping we can, once you come on Thursday to the lab, we'll start talking about the content of this course, and I will also let you take the syllabus quiz. So when you come to the lab on Thursday, I will ask you if you have any questions about the course, about the syllabus. If you don't have any questions, we'll take this quiz together in the lab to make sure everybody knows like how to take those quizzes, what are the procedures, right? And then in class, we'll do assignment 1. It's really easy assignment. It's like a gimmick. It's more like a student survey, but nevertheless, it will introduce you to the format of all assignments that we're using here. What I'm trying to say is that don't worry about it now. We'll do it on Thursday, right? You don't have to be stressed out and start, reading syllabus, but be ready to take this quiz on Thursday, okay? And then on Thursday, we'll start talking about decision support system. We'll have a brief lecture and then we'll work on assignments, okay, using the lab computers. Again, if you're joining us in Zoom, then join us in Zoom. When I'm in the lab, I'll be broadcasting what I'm doing in Zoom. And if you have any questions with lab work, you can also ask me those questions in Zoom. Of course, I'll be moving back and forth between computers and students. So maybe you'll have to wait until I come back. Maybe you'll have to send you a message in chat. But I'll be listening. I'll be paying attention to what's happening in Zoom in case you have any questions. And then the final thing I would like to say is introductions. I think it really, sorry guys, but you got unlucky. It really sucks to be a student during COVID times because they're like all those limited. I don't know, you like it? No, you don't. When I was an undergraduate student, I think 50% of what I learned was not from textbooks. It was from people around me. I met amazing people during my undergraduate studies. For example, I wasn't very entrepreneurial, but I met people who were amazing entrepreneurs. One of my classmates, he's a founder of Grammarly, for example, right? So I was taking an accounting course with him. So I really absorbed like that entrepreneurship from those very smart entrepreneurial people. I wasn't very organized, but my roommate in college was very organized, extremely tidy, clean person, where everything had a folder and a tag. So I absorbed some of that, right? So it sucks to be a student where we're in a situation where interactions are somewhat limited, social interactions are somewhat limited. To eliminate that situation a little bit, I'm asking you to do a good introduction for yourself, right? So that we get to know each other despite all those limitations that we're facing. So I'm asking you to do this assignment by January 24th. Create a good post introducing yourself. Tell us your name, major, career plans, hobbies, something interesting about you. Don't lie. Don't tell me that you're a relative of I don't know, Michael Jackson or something like that. So tell us something interesting without lying. Don't make things up to make things interesting. Also, please post your photo because we're all wearing masks. Sometimes, we don't even know who is the other person in class. I've noticed some students do not recognize me because I was in the mask. They don't remember who I was, right? So post a good photo of yourself so that we can all remember how you look like. I will try to go through this thread a few times to make sure I remember every student how they look like in this course, okay? But you don't have to do it. I mean, if you're, if you don't want other, if you're concerned about your privacy or your trying to hide your location or something like that, then don't post photos. But if you can, then post a good photo so we can see how you look like, okay? So let's do that. If you do it and you do a good job, not just saying like, my name is this, I like video games, and without any photos. If you do a good job, I'll give you 1% extra credit, right? If you write a lot, if you do a good job introducing yourself to others, okay? So please, it's a bonus assignment, but I want you to do a good job so that we all know each other, we know each other's interests, how we look like, and things like that. So you can start working it right now. It's like an unofficial assignment. Okay, friends, so we're officially done with this course. I'm not going to take attendance today because it's the first day of the class. Everybody's running around trying to find their rooms and things like that. But starting next class, I will take attendance both in the lab and in Zoom, okay? So that's all I had to say. Any questions, any final comments? Well, if you have some questions or comments, then post them into this course Q&A discussion thread, okay? All right, well, thank you for coming today, and I'll see you all on Thursday in the lab, 4:55, it's downstairs. Okay, friends, I'm done. I'm talking to you. Those who are joining us in Zoom, do you have any final questions? Anything else to discuss?
None.
Well, again, the same thing applies to you. Post your questions to Canvas if you have anything to ask about this course, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All
See
right,
ya.
thank you for joining us today. I'm about to end the meeting.